Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Game Vault podcast stream. I'm your host, Mark. Welcome back to the News Hour for December 15th is when this will air on YouTube and podcast services. But it's the 14th tonight, and if you are here live, you get to interact with me. But yeah, we're about halfway through December. This is crazy. Doing this every week and just seeing the days calculate. Every year, this is the time when I start getting a little bit of anxiety, just because my busy season starts like, what's it called? Like 120 days out. So I'm starting to do stuff for like April when it starts getting busy. So that's why we're, getting a little anxious here. So thank you for joining me. We got a lot to talk about tonight once we get to the news section. I have switched over to Video Games Chronicle just because I've gotten tired of the IGN headlines, which are definitely AI written. We'll see how VGC works for us. So, yeah. Trying to think. No, it's just... Let's get started here. We have the Extra Life. I'll make that a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. So we are at 1,000. Remember, I have $60 sitting in my Venmo from Mike that I have to put in. So we are at exactly $1,000, which means that I will be playing Phasmophobia and Dead by Daylight with Jen over on Roxy Foxy's channel. So be sure to check that out at some point. If you missed it, I did my Expedition 33 cosplay stream yesterday. That video should be up on YouTube sometime next week. Yeah, we did it. We got a couple more goals to get, but 1,000 is my thing. I want to hit 1,000 every year. So we got there. So thank you for everyone that's donated. You still have time to donate through December 31st. It's at tinyurl.com/extralife or GVP as in Game Vault Pod, Extra Life, the number 10. So be sure to check that out and get in there for that. Yeah, I think we're doing good. So next week is our Phantom Liberty stream. Funny story about that. I was trying to download Phantom Liberty and get it all, and and for some reason Epic was giving me an issue. It was only giving me the base game. And then when I tried to redo it, it said that it would fluctuate between taking 4 hours and 15 hours to download. So I said, screw it. And thankfully, if you watch the Game Awards, Expedition 33 put out new content and a new area to explore. I was already doing Expedition 33 cosplay, so I went, you know what, fuck it. We'll do the Expedition 33 stuff, and play the Expedition 33 content while looking like that and eating a baguette dipped in ghost pepper sauce. So yeah, that is what we did. So next week is Phantom Liberty, Cyberpunk. So we'll play through that. I have some chicken nuggets to eat at the beginning of that stream because as you see, everything from, I think, Imperfect up, so there's 5 nuggets to eat. Yeah, I ran out of nuggets right before Imperfect donated, so yeah, so we got 5 nuggets to eat next week. Then the 27th is my stream of doing Master Sword percent runs to register to speedrun.com. That gives me a little bit more time because I was going to do that next week to sort of research it. I think I know most of what I have to do. I just got to set up a screen for it like I did for the Punch-Out one with a timer and all that stuff. So like I said, we're going to stream that for a few hours and we're going to do as many runs as possible and then just submit the one that works the best. So look out for that. Ooh, Platinum Trophy alert. Congrats, Night Duck. I got to check Expedition 33 to make sure that there isn't any more added on stuff that I need to get for that because I had the platinum in that. So I think I might have to beat the special bosses that they announced that I got my ass kicked playing and I was just too tired to go on, but I could probably beat them. I got 3/4 of their health down. Um, I think I just got to be more judicious about watching the turn order, to be honest. So, all right, well, let's just go into what I've been playing. Um, yeah, I'll start off with I played the new stuff from Expedition 33, the Thank You Fans free DLC, the new area versus draft. Very colorful. I love the area. I love the idea. It looks like I missed some stuff by watching some other people play with some outfits that I did not get. So I did get the outfits that make them all look like they're the Nightman from Always Sunny. But there looks like there's like a top hat and stuff that I missed, and like tuxedos. So I gotta look back and see if I can get that stuff. We defeated the boss there. My characters are all almost 99, level 99. So I was a little overconfident. I would go in, I could one-shot all the normal enemies like pretty easily, with the strategy to make Mael do 15 million points of damage. Then I got to the boss. I was like, oh, we'll let the boss music play. We'll play through, because I'm probably gonna one-shot or two-shot him. And then they introduced the mechanic, which completely nullifies the thing. It was I did my thing and did like 20 something million or 15 somewhere in there million points of damage. Took his heat bar all the way down, and he had a second form. His second form, which I was not at the ability to parry as I used to be, so I was a little behind on that. That every time he hits you, he puts this thing on. I forget what it's called. And you only hit for 1 damage until you do as many hits as you have, like, this stack. It's like a curse. Hello, goat. So, it eliminated my Mael stuff until I could get the curse off of them. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's a way to take the curse off without actually hitting. So, yeah. It took me like 2 or 3 tries to get the strategy down. I had to mix doing the massive damage with Mael and getting burn on him, so that he was still getting hit when we couldn't hit him for more than 1. So that helped a lot. I may need to do that on the other bosses too, that I was having trouble with. But yeah, it was very fun. The story in it is great. And I recommend, if you have beaten the game, and Goat, this would be for you too if you have beaten the game. I would highly recommend playing it. It is very noticeable where it is. It's in the water. So you should notice it right away. But it is fun. I have not tested the new enemies in the Endless Tower yet, outside of the 1 or the 2 that we faced on stream. So I'll probably do those off stream. But yeah, it was a fun time. It's good getting back into that game. We'll have to talk a lot about it in the news. Right before the stream, I finally got Sonic Crossroads, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. I got it on Epic because I was buying Phantom Liberty, so I just got them at the same time, and used some rewards points or whatever to knock down the price on Sonic Racing, and then Phantom Liberty was already 20% off, so it turned out nice. So the great thing about it, the thing I'm liking, is that unlike Mario Kart, the like beginner level isn't like super easy. It's easy, but I'm just learning the game. Like, I only did 2 Grand Prix, and I'm learning what the weapons do and when to do what. And I came in second place both times by like 2 points. And your rival, which is the great thing about this, you have a rival that you have to beat that like unlocks stuff and all that. And I barely lose to that rival every time. So Um, yeah, the um, yeah, it is. It is really hard on the hands. Yeah, yeah, but it is fun. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm probably gonna play NCAA when I get off here, but just because it's easier to play that while waiting for stuff to download. Um, and yeah, so a lot of fun there. Also playing NCAA. So I had, just playing through that with the normal, just dominating, having fun with that game. It's sort of like a shut off the brain and sort of while things are downloading or listening to a podcast or something game. So still having fun with that. Mega Man 4. We got a little bit further on Monday. We got what's it called. We have just the last couple things. There's some other doctor, and then there's Wily. So it's two more castles. We have that. So we're chugging along. Again, I like 2 and 3 better. 4, just not as hard. Oh, nice. Yeah, I've heard good things about the Paladin stuff. From what I've read and videos that I've seen of people that played it. So it'd be nice to get firsthand knowledge on that here. But yeah, so been playing that. And then yeah, I think that's it. Next week, I may do if I have availability on Friday. I am not 100% sure. We might do a hasty glance of Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, just as fun. If I'm around on how I'm feeling on Friday, and then we'll have like I said, Phantom Liberty on Saturday. Tom's not around on Thursday, so we won't have anything from him. And then Sunday is the news hour, and then it's Christmas time, and we'll see how things work during the break. So that'll do it for the news. That'll do it for what I've been playing. Let's move on to the news. Hopefully I have this correct and set up properly. And there we go. The Game Awards 2025 complete list of winners. Clair Obscur wins Game of the Year and sets a new record for awards run. Last of Us 2 record, 7 awards has been beaten. French developer Sandfall Interactive's critically acclaimed RPG took home the biggest prize of the night, along with awards for Best Indie Game, Best Debut Indie Game, Best Art Direction, Best Score, Best RPG, that's the only one I can really hear arguments on. Because KCD2 might be a better RPG than Clair Obscur. But, that's a splitting hairs. Best Narrative, Best Game Direction, and Best Performance. Jennifer English, far and away, the best performance of the year. Let's go through the winners here. This is a whole new thing of trying to figure out how this is zoomed in. It's a whole different website. Clair Obscur wins Game of the Year for Best Game Direction as well, Best Narrative, Best Art Direction, Score and Music, Best Audio Design, which is one of the categories that it lost. Battlefield 6, from all I heard, was a really, really good example of audio design. Death Stranding 2 is probably second on this list. Jennifer English, like I said, far and away the best choice for that. The innovation and accessibility for Doom: The Dark Ages, really good choice here. From what I remember, they allowed you to slow down the speed of the game and certain things like that for people with disabilities and stuff like that, so they can still play a game like Doom. It didn't need, change buttons and stuff like that. It just, for everything I heard, they just did a really, really good job on it. And it's rare that you hear a game pointed out for doing above and beyond what you need to do for accessibility. Games for Impact, South of Midnight, little bit controversy, depending on where you land on the BDS boycott. Um, I I I feel like Consumi or Despolote might been better choices here, but more people probably heard of South of Midnight. Best ongoing game, No Man's Sky. It's still amazing that game was part of one of our first Extra Lives. Um, it's not the one that almost ended Extra Life. That is The Quiet Man. That was the one that Ant was going to walk out and never do Extra Life again. But No Man's Sky is probably second place for that. Best community support, I believe 3 years in a row. Baldur's Gate 3 wins that. From all I've heard, they've done a great job there. Best independent game, Clair Obscur. Debut indie, Clair Obscur. Best mobile game, Uma Musume, Pretty Derby. Obviously, it was the one that took the world by storm, the Horse Girl game. Best VR AR, I'm assuming the Midnight Walk's good. I was afraid they were going to give it to Marvel's Deadpool, so I'm glad that did not win. Best action game, that is the one. It's such a weird category. So, stop and talk about this for a little bit. Hades 2, while it has action in it, I don't know if it is a straight action game. These categories are weird, like the next two here. And even kind of, yeah. I'm even saying like Shinobi or Doom, feel like better action games, of the ones on this list. I love Hades 2. Hades 2 is a great game. It's going to be in my top 3. Yeah. It's like, it's weird. And the action adventure game, I feel some of these might actually be action games. I guess they split this up because I feel like Hades is more of an action adventure game. I don't know. These were the two that confused me all night. The winners in both categories are fantastic games, and they're in my top 5. But yeah, these were the two confusing ones. And then our best RPG, Clair Obscur, great RPG. It's just really weird. These two categories. Like I said, the two games that won are really, really good games and will be on top 5 game of the year list. So it's not like they picked bad games. We'll get to a bad game in a second that won. Because it's a weird category and it was the best of the bad games on that list. The only argument for Clair Obscur's wins that I would entertain or even maybe partially agree is best RPG, because Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, probably more of a traditional RPG-esque game. The 3 in the middle there, at Monster Hunter Wilds, that's probably more of an action game. Anyway, genre things are crazy. But, like, if they wanted to give, like, I guess they knew that it would be like a foregone conclusion, that Clair Obscur is going to win a bunch of stuff. If they wanted to give any intrigue to the final game, they should have gave Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 the win here in RPG. And you're like, oh, maybe Clair Obscur is not going to win and instead they gave it, it lost the one it should have lost, which was audio design, and it won this one that it could have lost as well. But it's a splitting hairs here. Both of them are probably top. I haven't played Kingdom Come Deliverance, but in terms of RPGs, these were the two that have been mentioned. Then we come to best fighting game, which I'm not a big fighting game guy, but I trust a lot of fighting game people that I watch on the internet. And I feel the only reason that Fatal Fury City of the Wolves won is because that and 2XKO are the only new games on this list. Like, Capcom Fighting Collection and Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection are collections of games that were released years and decades ago. And And then Virtual Fighter 5 Revo World Stage is just another update or another version of Virtual Fighter 5, which came out years ago. So I could see the voters going, well, there's only 2 new fighting games on this list, and Fatal Fury City of Wolves is probably better than 2XKO. And, and it's a toss-up from some of the fighting game community people that I listen to between them. And it's just, yeah, this was a weird one because, there was no Tekken, no Street Fighter, no Mortal Kombat, no anything that could have taken this. And I feel like Fatal Fury won by default in that the voters thought it was the better of the 2 games that actually released this year. That was it. I don't know if it's a big celebration that it's a good game, just that it was the best of what was there, essentially. Best Family Game's an interesting one, too. I feel like a game, like the middle chunk of that category, if you can see it, for the audio listeners, the thing goes Donkey Kong Bonanza, Lego Party, Lego Voyagers, Mario Kart World, Sonic Racing Crossworld, Split Fiction. Donkey Kong Bonanza wins. The middle part of that feels like what I would consider family games. Like Lego Party, you play with your family. Lego Voyagers, you would play with your kids or something. Mario Kart World, you would play with your family and kids. And Sonic Racing Crossroads, you would play with your family and kids. Split Fiction, you're getting into like teenager category in terms of playing with your kids family-wise. Because it's only 2-player. But I think Donkey Kong Bonanza, unless if I'm wrong, unfortunately I don't know if Tom's here, but I feel like that is just a game that's just it's not a game you play with your family. I would like to know what the qualification is for this category. It is a kid's game, essentially, that kids can play it and they can have fun with it and understand it and play it well. You might play it with your kid to help them out and all that. That perfectly fits fine. But family game, I'm thinking of games you play with your family, with your kids. And if I'm thinking the category wrong, then I am. I think one of the Legos should have won. Would have been my choice here. Lego Party is surprisingly good from what I've seen of people playing it. And Lego Voyagers feels like a game, that could be one that you and your child bond over. So I feel those 2 should have won. And even the racing games, you could make a better argument. I feel like Donkey Kong Bonanza is a single player game that's just like, ooh, I'll watch my kid play, or my kid watches me play. It's just weird. All right, and then best strategy sim game. Final Fantasy Tactics wins that. Probably the best choice there. The Alters is probably second place. Best sports racing game. Like, they have to combine these because there's not a lot of both, or else it would just be 4 EA games. This is the only one. Obviously, my bias towards Sonic Racing Cross Worlds would have made it my choice here. Mario Kart World, while it was heralded, but doesn't seem to have the lasting power so far that Mario Kart 8 had when it came out. It'll get there eventually because all Mario Karts do. EA Sports FC 26 is actually really good. They do the whole... Now, this is probably talking over a lot of people's heads that don't play sports games. The whole conceit of, trying to make it feel like real football is usually tough. But what it did, and the reason why I would have made it probably second place vote for me here, is that it makes me use all the aspects of the controls. Like, before I could get away with just doing certain passes and certain things and just keep repeating that and I would win and score at will. This makes you, do the little signature moves, do the protecting the ball, crosses, and instead of just passing it to an open guy, trying to fake out the goalie, because goalies are really good in this game compared to past games. It has its moments with bugs and stuff like that, but it is probably the best soccer game EA has put out in a while. I would say maybe back to like 23, 22, something like that. 24 and 25 were basically iterations of each other, just like the hockey was. I feel like NHL 26 should be in this category too. NHL 26 is a much more refined game. Yeah, so that's Mark's rant on sports games. But yeah, I think rematch is a cool idea, just doesn't stand up. And F1, I feel like that came from the European contingent. I guess FC gets those votes too. But I feel like F125 is that's more of a European, maybe even Asian as well, thing than American. America would be NASCAR. Best multiplayer game, Arc Raiders. Of the list here, I feel like it's Arc Raiders, Battlefield 6, Elden Ring, Night Rain, Peak, and Split Fiction. Arc Raiders wins here. I feel like Peak is second. I have a feeling Arc Raiders is going to fizzle out. I don't know why. I haven't seen it talked about as much recently as I did when it first came out. None of these really have, I guess, maybe Night Rain. None of these are like game changers in terms of multiplayer games. Best adaptation. Last of Us Season 2 is... The problem with this one is of the 4 that are on there that didn't win, it's a Minecraft movie, Devil May Cry, which I heard is good, I haven't seen it, Splinter Cell, Death Watch, and Until Dawn. One of them is terrible in Until Dawn. A Minecraft movie is really dependent on your age group, whether you find it great or not, and how much you can tolerate Jack Black. Devil May Cry, just under the radar. Nobody really heard of it. Would have been surprised to win this. And Splinter Cell is probably just so they could have a 5th one. They had one last year. That was like a Tomb Raider thing that they just threw on here. As much as I have issues with most of Season 2, just because of the changes they made, it's probably the best on this list. So, next up is the easiest category, most anticipated game, went to Grand Theft Auto 6. They should have just removed it and said, yeah, everybody's anticipating that. We're going to see what another one would win here. Probably would have been Witcher 4. It was 007 First Light, Grand Theft Auto 6, Marvel's Wolverine, Resident Evil Requiem, and The Witcher 4. Witcher 4 would have probably won if Grand Theft Auto wasn't on there. Player's voice is probably the dirtiest category on this list. Yeah, that's the whole thing about the Minecraft movie. So Ghost says, 0.00096 seconds is all I can handle of Jack Black. And that's what I mean. That movie just depends on how much you can handle him and Jason Momoa when Jason Momoa is going crazy. So, yeah. But back to player's voice. This is the dirtiest category on this list. And I don't know how you fix it. Because the problem becomes, and I was thinking this on the stream, and my thought got seconded by Jeff Gerstmann on his stream. Wuthering Waves wins here. It goes up against Clair Obscur, Dispatch, Genshin Impact, and Hollow Knight Silksong. Now, the reason why it's dirty is because essentially saying without saying it, the creators Kuro Games, it was going to, if they won a game award, they didn't say which one. So if we win a game award, we will give you a free skin. So all the people that play that game went, oh, we're going to go vote for the player's voice ones where we have the most impact, and they'll win, and we'll get a free skin. It's dirty. I don't know how Jeff fixes it, because the problem becomes he can take the amount of what's it called? Interaction. There's a word for it. Engagement. He can take the number of engagement that player's voice vote got and go, oh, 4 million people voted in the player's voice category. That's how much of people viewed the website. And that's how many people checked out your advertisements when he's trying to sell the ads. So I don't know if there's an incentive for him to fix it. But yeah, a gacha game's going to win this every year until they figure out how to stop the incentivization of it. Yeah, yeah, but it's just, I don't know. It just feels wrong when, you know, when there seems to be an incentive to vote for them. Now, if all the games gave an incentive for winning player's voice, then okay. But yeah. Yeah, no, he's not going to fix it. Um, yeah, I mean, yes, the people that voted do care about that game because they want the skin. I mean, obviously, you wouldn't go out of your way to go vote for a game on player's voice just to get a skin that you're not going to use in a game you don't play. So those people do generally care about it. But would they have gone out of their way to go vote on a website for a video game awards thing if they weren't getting incentives? It's one of those. It's close to a catch-22. I don't know if it is. But yeah, it's a category that I would like to track and see if all of them are gacha games that win this every year. I got a feeling GTA 6 is going to win next year. I think there's enough people that could outvote the gacha people. So content creator, I don't know any of the other people. Moist Critical wins. He voiced Sonar in Dispatch. So seems like a good guy there. And then the rest of these I don't really have much attachment to. Esports game, esports athlete. Sure. It was Counter-Strike 2, Chovy, and Team Vitality, which is a Counter-Strike team. So those were your winners. It was a pretty good show. I would say 8 out of 10. I had fun with it. The Miss Piggy segment was pretty good. Even though the first time they got on screen, she insinuated that she had sex with Jeff Keighley in Bora Bora, which is just weird, but sure. But it was a good show overall. He's getting better at making it very, like, not up and down. They're starting to become nice 7, 8 out of 10s every year. All right, time to move on. We are going to do everything that was announced at the Game Awards. So let's get through this. There were some things that were great, some things that were not so great. Starting off, Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic opened the main show. It was directed by Casey Hudson, who, for those of you that don't know, Casey Hudson was the original director for Knights of the Old Republic, and probably best known for the Mass Effect series. He was involved with all 3 of the first 3 games. I think he came back for Andromeda. I know he left BioWare and then came back at some point, but this, I don't know if I expressed it on the video, but this did even get a little bit of a pop from me. I kept going, is this Intergalactic? And they were, no, they said premiere. And I'm like, is this a Star Wars? And I just kept repeating, is this a Star Wars? And then as soon as Casey Hudson got up, I believe I said, whoa. That is a great get here. This game is probably, I think we have a news story on it, maybe. Somebody said that it's about 4 years out, and then the people involved with them, no, we're a lot closer than 4 years. So my guess would be 2029 would be my thought. So that was the first game announced. Then the next game up was the I don't know if you guys had been following this online, but there was like a mysterious statue in the desert or something that looks like that in the photo. And for those of you who look up, it was for Larian Studio, who made Baldur's Gate 3, their new game. I guess it's technically a soft reboot or whatever of Divinity, because they also did make Divinity Original Sin, and I think Divinity Games as well before. It's for that. So just look up either Larian or Divinity statue in the desert so you guys can see the photo if you're listening to this in audio. But it was probably one of the more disgusting trailers that I've seen. It rivals Scorn. If you guys remember that trailer from a while ago in game. But it got its point across, and I trust Larian after BG3. So it should be a pretty good game, and I wish it didn't leak because I believe the pop would have been better. They had it out there too long. It should have been a few days. I think it was a week. Next up is a game I'm fairly curious about. I'm hoping it's a shorter game. It's called The Coven of the Chickenfoot. It's from Bruce Straley's. I think it's Straley is how I would say it. He's Uncharted and Last of Us director. It seems an interesting concept, playing as, you never really play as older witches or women at all. And then that is such a cute guy that's with her. That little animal thing, sheep, whatever it's supposed to be, is really cute. And there's some really good scenes in the trailer between them. So it is nice to see possibly a shorter game. I want this game to be like 6 to 10 hours. And it'd be great. Next up, the reveal that Raccoon City Police Department rookie officer Leon S. Kennedy will be in Resident Evil Requiem. This would have hit a lot harder if it didn't leak on both, I think, GameStop and the PlayStation Store that Leon was in this game. But everybody's been speculating Leon's been in this game since the beginning. But the big announcement with this, which I really loved, is that it's going to be like a split thing. So the first thing, Grace's part, I don't know if they're going to do like A-B like they did for Resident Evil 2, but Grace's part will be survival horror, more resource management, run away from monsters most of the time. And then his will be straight up action like RE4. There's one point where he chainsaws a zombie in half. So they're going to try and split the difference between the two types of Resident Evils. We'll see how it works out. It might be great. If you want to see some fun, like fan arts type stuff for things. Oh, That Raspberry has some good comics where they're just interpreting Leon as like an old man with a walker, and it's pretty funny in this game. So go check out her stuff. I've been having some fun laughing at that. Next up, a new trailer for Exodus, which is the game with Matthew McConaughey in it. I don't know if you guys remember that. I think he came out at Summer Games Fest or the Game Awards or something to announce that he was in this. It looks fine. I'll have to wait and see when we play it, but nothing's really jumping off the page for me on this one. But it was interesting to get a little bit more of a glimpse into this. The first game that made me absolutely pop on screen, using the wrestling term, was Control Resident, basically Control 2. As soon as I saw the guy dangling with a P6 shirt on, I was like, it's Control 2, hell yeah. It looks really, really good. I like the idea of you're going to play as Dylan, and Dylan's going to be more melee focused, while what's her name? Jessie was more like range gun powers focused. So it'll give a different vibe to the game. At this point, I trust Remedy until they prove me wrong with games. So Control 2, very much looking forward to it. It's coming out next year, which I'm ecstatic about. It'll be in the running for Game of the Year if it stays up to the quality of Alan Wake and Control. Next up is Gang of the Dragon, which is I think that Toshihiro Nagoshi, a new studio. He used to be with RGG making Yakuza games. That's why this game looks very much Yakuza. And And they even show off him walking under the banner that I guess is, it can't be for Kamurocho, because Kamurocho is a made up place. So yeah, but it looks very much in that vein. More the action than the RPG of Like a Dragon. But yeah, yeah, I like the art style is fantastic, and those Japanese crime games are always good. Next up was a interesting announcement that took me a while to get. Tomb Raider announced 2 new games. Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis, which is a remake of the first game. I have not played the first game in years. I played 2 a lot more than 1. So I did not remember that the plot of 1 was Atlantis, or I would have gotten it right away. And then a sequel called Tomb Raider Catalyst. Each one's coming out each year. So the remake's coming out in 2026, and Catalyst is coming out in 2027. The big thing is that they've reverted a little more to Lara's original look than the look in the reboots, which essentially means it's a little less natural looking makeup and stuff on the face and a little more glammed up like she was for the PlayStation ones as best you could on a PlayStation. I think they've toned down. I think they've done the Tifa thing with her chest. It's not square like on PlayStation, but I think they made it practical if she's going to be, have larger breast than the one in the reboot, which was modeled after an actual actress. So, yeah, I mean, it looks great. If they can find a happy medium, between I love the look of Lara in the reboot and the people that just desired her as a sexual object in the mid-90s, if we can find a happy medium between those and get 2 great kick-ass games out of it, perfect. But yeah, so those are coming out. They teased this like it'd be a bigger deal, but it wasn't as big as they thought. Lenny Kravitz is going to be in, yes, that's singer Lenny Kravitz, and Cinna from Hunger Games, for those of you out there that watch Hunger Games. He will be playing a villain called, I think it's Balma, in 007 First Light. He came out to present an award and all that as well. I'm getting more and more excited about 007 First Light the more I see it. I'm a huge Bond fan. And I trust IO to do it right because of the what's it called? The goodwill that they got for Hitman. So, looking forward to that. Next up, No Law, the team behind The Ascent. It's a cyberpunk first-person shooter in the Unreal 5 engine. I just kept calling the main character Mike Hagar for the whole thing, so you can kind of get an idea of what this main character looks like. Mayor Mike Hagar. So interesting, but yeah, not on the top of my list from this show. Next up, Sorrows has been delayed till April, but we did get a little more of like a story trailer here at the Game Awards. So it seems like it's some kind of like whatever you're fighting like gets in your head and sort of fucks around with things. So yeah, it still looks good. It's Housemarque. It's Bullet Hell stuff. They're fucking great at Bullet Hell stuff. I still have Resogun installed on my PS4. I think it got transferred to my PS5 as well. But yeah, I've had Resogun downloaded since day one of owning the PS4. So I didn't get a chance to play Returnal, but those guys know what they're doing in that genre, and I don't trust that this will be any different. Here. So probably my most curious game of the Game Awards announcement was a game called Bradley the Badger. And it's like sort of a behind the scenes of game development. This badger that's sort of um, a, platform, system like platform mascot or whatever, looking character, gets stuck inside certain games. The creator said that it's a love letter to games. It opens up with Badgerborn, which is just this character going through the Bloodborne-esque environment, and then one called was it Cyber Badger, which is Cyberpunk 2077, and then one called The Last Badger, which is just The Last of Us thing here. So this one is the only thing that came out of the blue that that shocked me. That wasn't, on my radar at all, and I don't think it was on anyone's radar. But watch for this game. This could be a sneaky Game of the Year contender. And feel free to bring up this clip if it does win Game of the Year. So Star Wars Galactic Racer is next. We're essentially pod racing. I saw they didn't try to hide it. It was another thing where it popped up. I was like, I think this is a Star Wars. And then they showed the one vehicle, and I'm like, this is a pod racing Star Wars. So for those of you that have been pining for, I believe it's the N64 Star Wars pod racing game that came with Episode 1, you're going to get another one of those racers. And this looks like it's going to be a whole bunch of vehicles and not just pod racing vehicles. So it should be interesting for those of you that like the genre and, and like Star Wars in general. It feels like it's going to be a good one. Next up was a Mega Man game was announced. They did the whole fanfare thing that they did for Okami at the Game Award. Was that at Summer Games Fest? I think Okami was at Summer Games Fest. So another side-scrolling Mega Man, basically Mega Man 12. It does have some X vibes to it, but I don't think it's X. I think it's straight going to be 12, because watching back at the trailer, I think when they were going down the hallway, I think each side was like a game and a year, and it was all the original Mega Mans. I have to double check that. I don't know if the numbers matched up, but I think I caught a couple that I knew were correct. So yeah. So it's called Dual Override. I wonder if it's a mix of regular Mega Man and X in terms of characters. But yeah, so that was that. And then the real quick hitters. The Free Shepherd. No, this is going to take me a bit to sort of tell where the screen is. The Free Shepherd is an indie game coming out in 2027 where you play as a sheepdog herding sheep. It looks so cute. And the dog does some back scratches on the ground at the end. It is the ultimate cute game. Decrepit is a dark fantasy Souls-like set in a grim, dark castle of horrors. Basically just looks like first-person Dark Souls. It's even got some Dark Souls characters or monster designs in it. So you know what you're getting here. Audio Mech from the creator of Audiosurf. Demo comes out yesterday or Friday. Basically, the thing, Audiosurf is a pretty cool game. I tried it out a couple times. But the key thing with this one is that, and I don't think this was in the original. It's been so long since I played it. You can put your own music in there, and it can either help you or you can fight against it. So I'm wondering if you can throw like a podcast in there. I wonder if that would do something. But yeah, so that game is coming out. Guild Wars 2 expansion. They are adding a new region to escape from Duck-Off. Pragmata is coming to Switch 2. And you can play a demo now, which maybe we'll do a hasty glance on that. Solasta 2 is coming in March. Tank Rat is a tank-based action game coming in spring 2026. Stupid Never Dies, which is a debut game from NetEase owned studios, GP Track 50, run by Resident Evil producer Hiroki Kobayashi. The cool thing about this, and the cool depends on, is the opening pop punk song between the two characters. I don't know if you exclusively play as the male character because he's melee and she's like a sniper. So I don't know if you can go back and forth with both. But the premise of the game is you're sort of saving her. She's a human, you're a zombie. It's like that movie with Nicholas Hoult, Zombie. I forget who the other character was in that. I think it's Tessa Palmer. I'm gonna look that up right now. Yeah, that game looks like it's going for a style, and it might end up being great. And yeah, it is Tessa Palmer. How about that? The movie's called Warm Bodies, for those of you who don't want to go to their IMDb. So sort of like a, look at it from that. So it got an interesting trailer. You should go check out the trailer. South of Midnight is now coming to PS5 and Switch 2. So if your BDS boycott is just on not having Game Pass, or not buying things on Xbox, even though it's an Xbox Game Studios game, I don't know how deep into the boycott you go. But this now allows you to buy a game that I hear is very good on systems not Xbox. Capcom has a new sale on games. Be sure to check that out. John Carpenter's Toxic Commando is coming out in March. The Bad Robots game, which is J.J. Abrams, and it's being done by Left 4 Dead creator Mike Booth. It's a co-op shooter called 4 Loop. It looks mid as hell. And I need to see more, or I need to play a demo. I don't see where it stands out from anything else. It doesn't even look as good as, like, Back 4 Blood and any of the other games that have come out recently. Ontos, which is a creator of Soma, that's coming in 2026. Let's see if I can find where I was. Angels of Delusion is a new faction in Zenless Zone Zero. So if you're still playing that game, you do have a new faction coming. Fighting game, as we mentioned earlier, 2XKO is coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X in January. Order of the Sinking Stars, the next game from Jonathan Blow, who made Braid and The Witness, coming in 2026. Wizards of the Coast is working on Warlock Dungeons & Dragons, a dark fantasy action game, probably about the Warlock character class. Anime-inspired racing game Screamer is coming on March 26th. That's the thing. It was a mix between real-world racing and anime cutscenes. Teaser trailer for Street Fighter the movie, which was the weirdest part of the show. Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight looks really good. That's coming in May. Global test for Rust Mobile, if you want to check that out. Forest 3 had a trailer. Invincible Versus is coming on April 30th. They added a new character called Elemental. Orbitals is an anime-like co-op space adventure coming exclusively to Switch 2. Don't remember much about that one. The second closed beta test for, I believe that's Amino? I forget how. The little lights at the top are covering here if you're watching live, and I don't feel like switching back. That's coming in early 2026. As Goat has been mentioning, Lord of Hatred expansion coming April 2028. Or early 2026, April 28th, 2026. But they put out the Paladin class already for you to try out. So that expansion's coming. Marvel Rivals Season 6 comes in January and has Deadpool, of course. Seven Deadly Sins Origin, co-op raid battles, and a new gameplay trailer. Redacted game is free on Epic Games Store until December 18th. So I'll be waiting to get my next free game from Epic on December 19th. Lords of the Fallen version 2.5, the last major update for the game, is out now and free. And they announced they had another trailer for Lords of the Fallen 2 as well. Phasmophobia is coming to Switch 2, so it can bore another audience of gamers. The next Total War game is Total War Warhammer 40K. Ace Combat 8 Wings of Thief is coming in 2026. Stop motion co-op game Out of Words is coming in 2026. Phantom Blade Zero will be released on September 9th, 2026. And High Guard is coming from Wildlight Entertainment on January 26th and will be a free-to-play PvP raid shooter. So, I'm glad they brought up High Guard. That very much felt like a Game Awards. The creators gave Jeff a bunch of money to be the last game of the night. Because there's at least 3 or 4 games, or at least 2 or 3 games that were announced that should have closed the show. Like, should have been the last thing before Game of the Year. You know, just to get the crowd hype, you know, for Game of the Year. You know, it could have been, you could have dropped the Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic. That would have been a great game to drop right before that. But I think it's one of two things. A, they probably paid him a lot of money for the spot. And B, he probably wanted a game that was coming out next year to be in that spot. Now, you could have dropped Control 2 there, which would have been perfect. But not here nor there. High Guard looks very mid. They said, oh, it's going to change the game or whatever. And then looked it up, and I think me and somebody were going back and forth. It was like, this is just a hero shooter, right? There's like nothing different about this game than a normal classic hero shooter. But we'll see. Yeah, so that was everything that was announced at the Game Awards. So we have a few news stories here. Probably go through them quickly. They're not very deep because it is in December. This is when everybody starts slowing down. So as I mentioned, the director denies Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic could be more than 4 years away. He says, I am not getting any younger. Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic director Casey Hudson has denied the suggestion that the game could be more than 4 years away. Writing on social media, I'm not getting any younger. The third Knights of the Old Republic game was one of the biggest surprises at this week's Game Awards, and almost as unexpected was Hudson's attachment. The designer was the director of the original Star Wars Knight of the Old Republic and the Mass Effect trilogy, but just last year he was working on an entirely different project before his studio was closed down due to funding issues. Fate of the Old Republic developer Arcanaut is yet another startup from Hudson. Then, and unsurprisingly, a StarWars.com Q&A confirms that the new game is in its early stages of development, which has led to speculation that it might not be released until the turn of the decade. Hudson, however, denied that we'll have to wait that long. He wrote on social media, don't worry about the not until 2030 rumors. Game will be out before then. I'm not getting any younger. So for those of you interested in the game, as I am, like I said, I think 2028, 2029 is a good place for it. All right, next up, a fun story I saw. The NES Jaws game, which we just beat on this channel earlier this year, is coming to Switch, PS5, and PC, and includes a new enhanced version. Limited Run is selling 2 physical editions of the game. The NES adaptation of the hit movie Jaws is getting released on modern platforms. I ask why, but sure. The game, which was developed by Atlas and West One and published by LJN, was originally released in 1987 for the Nintendo Entertainment System, and is matched up with Jaws 4: The Revenge. And I didn't realize that until I saw Jaws 4: The Revenge, because everything about this game is tied into that movie. It's pretty funny. Now Limited Run is bringing it back for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, and PC with a digital release and 2 physical releases planned. Jaws, the Retro Edition, is the standard release, which will contain the Switch or PS5 game and an instruction booklet and will cost $35. Jaws, the Bigger Boat Edition, meanwhile, costs $9.99 and also includes a special box inspired by the Nintendo and the original NES game, the game's soundtrack on CD, a beach closed pin badge, a buoy keychain, and a pixel art lamp of Jaws coming out of the water. As well as the untouched NES game, the new release also includes an extended enhanced version, which claims will provide a robust realization of the NES game's role-playing elements and inspirations. The enhanced version is a massively expanded game with multiple chapters filled with nods and homages to all 4 Jaws films. It will also feature new quests and objectives, new abilities and weapons for the boat and the diver, and more challenging enemies. Because the game can literally be beaten in like 13 minutes. I think we did it in like 2 or 3 sessions. 30 minutes at most if you're unlucky. The package also contains typical games released on limited runs. Carbon Engine for retro titles includes save states, rewind, achievements, trophies, a music player, and a gallery. So, pretty fun story there. I probably won't be picking this up, but yeah, pretty fun. This game is a game that a lot of people played that are my age or a little older. And it's one of the shortest games on the NES that you can beat legitimately and not like what's it called? Glitch or anything. I think a legitimate beating can be anywhere between 10 to 30 minutes, depending on how much luck you get in terms of not running into things when you're powering up the boat back and forth. I think you only have to do that like 3 times. So if you get good luck, you can do it in about 10 minutes. So, yeah, so if you're a fan of Jaws or Jaws the game, that is coming out. Also, GameCube platformer Wario World has been added to the Switch Online's Nintendo Classics library. It's the 7th GameCube title to be added to the service. WarioWare has been added to the service today, making it the 7th GameCube game playable on Switch 2 for Nintendo Online Plus expansion packers. This is the first official re-release of the game since its original launch in 2003. Wario World is a 3D platformer developed by Treasure, who made Gunstar Heroes, Resident Silvergun, Ikaruga, and has Wario fighting an evil gem called Black Jewel, which has taken over his treasure in his castle. The game takes place over 4 worlds, Excitement Central, Spooktastic World, Thrillsville, and Sparkle Land, and has Wario trying to collect as many spritelings as possible. There are 6 different endings, with Wario getting an increasingly better castle depending on how many of the 40 spritelings he has collected over the course of the adventure. When originally released, Wario World was praised by critics for its gameplay, but heavily criticized for its short length, with some calling it the platforming equivalent of Luigi's Mansion. So it's fun that they're adding new GameCube stuff. I have not really heard of or played Wario World, which is probably a me thing. But if I ever get a Switch 2 soon and get the expansion pack, I will be sure to sign up for this. And then also, for those who don't have Switch 2, a pair of N64 platformers from Ubisoft are coming to Switch Online's Classic Library. Rayman 2: The Great Escape and Tonic Trouble, both of which were 3D platformers developed and published by Ubisoft, will arrive on the N64 app on Switch Online on December 17th. So if you're into either of those games, they will be there for you if you have the expansion pack for your regular Switch. Next up, Microsoft Flight Simulator gets a free Stranger Things DLC, which lets players fly a helicopter around Hawkins. So the new content, which can be found by going to the in-game marketplace and selecting the Stranger Things expansion, adds a new area to the game based on the fictional town of Hawkins, Indiana, which is very apropos with the final installment coming out in a few weeks. Players fly a helicopter around town, taking on 5 missions led by the show's Murray Bauman. Enter the world of Netflix Stranger Things to help Hawkins, a town under lockdown, heavy patrols, and supernatural threats. Think you have what it takes to fly a Bell UH-1H Huey and help the residents of Hawkins in their latest encounters with the dangers that destroyed their hometown. So basically, just goes on to describe the game here for those of you curious. The has 5 helicopter missions. The expansion also features 40 locations from the show, which can be visited and photographed as part of the photo mode mission. These include Starcourt Mall, which did burn down, but I guess maybe it's still there. Hawkins Middle School, Hawkins Natural Laboratory, Hawkins Junkyard, Palace Arcade, Family Video, Lover's Lake, and the Creel House. So, yeah, if you're into Stranger Things and you're getting all geared up for the end of the show coming in a few weeks, and you have Microsoft Flight Simulator, there's some free DLC for you to play. So be sure to check it out. And finally, our December PlayStation Plus games catalog. I think we may have already talked about this, but I'll just go through it again. As ever, the latest batch of catalog titles will be able to play on Extra and Premium. It is going to be Assassin's Creed Mirage and Wolong Fallen Dynasty. So if you have the second and third tiers, you can play these. They are joined by Skate Story and a couple Paw Patrol games and Lego Horizons Adventures. One game, Bandai's critically acclaimed Soul Calibur 3, is also being added to PlayStation Plus Classics category, which is only available to premium members. And so the list of games here. Extra and Premium, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Wolong Fallen Dynasty, Skate Story, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, Planet Coaster, Cat Quest 3, Lego Horizons Adventures, Paw Patrol Grand Prix, Paw Patrol World, and Soul Calibur 3 to the Classics catalog. So if you do have a PS5, and you have Extra and Premium, these games are there for you to pick up. So that'll do it for the podcast. Thank you guys for hanging around. A little bit of a longer one today, so I do apologize for that. I shouldn't apologize. These are supposed to be an hour. So, so coming up, we have Extra Life still going on. We are at $1,000. There's $60 that are going into that this week. So we did get our goal for me to play Phasmophobia and Dead by Daylight with Jen over on the Roxy Foxy channel. But you can still donate until December 31st. You can go to tinyurl.com/GVP as in Game Vault Pod, Extra Life, the number 10. We're going to be doing a few streams coming up. This Saturday will be our Phantom Liberty stream. And then the 27th is going to be me trying to get my get a recording sent to speedrun.com to be put on the leaderboard for Master Sword % run for Zelda 3, A Link to the Past. So be sure to check that out. We'll be back tonight with some more Mega Man 4, and then we may have one or two hasty glances, because Tom's not going to be here on Thursday. So I might run one that night. We can do the demo for Pragmata or something, and then Friday we can do either that or Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. We can do one or the other. So as Ghost says in the chat, Phasmo. Yes, it's my every year for us to raise $1,000 for kids for me to play Phasmophobia with Jen. So be sure to look that out. That should be coming soon. And thank you all for joining me. It has been fun as always, and we'll see you next time. Bye.